we humans have to deal with a lot of people with difficult personalities in our lives. And they're difficult because maybe they make us feel inferior, or they're always chastising us or berating us, or they're challenging us in a way that's really uncomfortable, and so we don't want to be around those people. There's people that are abusive as well, of course, and narcissists, and we can go on and on. But in most cases where you have an adult relationship with another person who is you might even consider your adversary, and this could be anyone from your mother or your father to a boss or a fellow employee, somebody else in the family, or even someone that you kind of call a friend. And you might say to yourself, I don't really want to be around this person anymore. Well, that's what this video is for, to maybe help you with that and help you with any other difficult personalities in your life. So let's get started. Okay, so we've established that you've got someone in your life who's very difficult, very challenging, someone who absolutely you do not want to have to deal with, and you're even considering, even if it's someone close to you, you're considering cutting off all ties and communication, or maybe you've already done so, and you don't know how to proceed. So this is kind of an advanced spiritual approach to this. The introductory spiritual approach is, yes, set up boundaries. If they no longer help you, if they are no longer of service to you in some way, if they are not at your highest good or in your highest good, then the advice from most spiritual practitioners is, yes, set a healthy boundary, cut it off, because what you lose there will be gained in some other way. And that's absolutely true. It is a very powerful way. That is stepping into your power to take someone who has been an important part of your life and say, you are no longer in my life because I can't see anything constructive for it. So let's move on. Maybe you've already done this. Maybe you haven't. Maybe it's someone that you can't do it to, or you've decided not to do this to for any number of reasons, right? Okay, so if you've still got this person in your life and you can't just cut communications, or you've decided not to cut communications, now what do you do? This is where we bring in the highest vibrational emotion possible, unconditional love. Most likely you didn't cut them off because you already have unconditional love for them. It is a parent, or it is a sister, or even a child, an adult child of yours. So you can't obviously stop loving them, and so that's what it would feel like to cut off that communication, to not put yourself in the position to be essentially abused by that person anymore. But it might be that that person is struggling in their own ways, that they're suffering because of their childhood traumas or because of their adulthood traumas. For so many reasons people suffer. And these sufferings can cause all kinds of strange behaviors that you look at and say, this isn't for me. So the first place to go is to say, well, they're probably doing this for a reason, because they weren't loved by their parents, or they didn't have this sort of experience, or they did have an abuse experience, or so many other things. So I would start by giving them the benefit of the doubt, or maybe even looking at them as someone who is truly trying their best and doing their best. It doesn't feel like it because you feel attacked or abused in the way that they treat you. But maybe that way is the absolute best that they can do. And if they could, they would change their own behavior so that you could be more supported and more loved by them outwardly. But for whatever reason, they can't do that. Whether it's a blockage in their mind, whether it's a decision that they've made, whether it's some sort of deep guilt or shame or fear that they've been having carried around for their entire life. Okay, so what are we going to do about working with a person like this? So you've already established that, okay, maybe they're doing their best, and maybe we can look at them almost as someone who needs help. But you're probably not the person to help them, because most likely they don't want to have anything to do with your help. Maybe they would get it from someone else, but that's not your responsibility, and they're on their own journey. So one of the things that I teach people to do all the time is to look at everyone in your life who might be an adversary as your greatest teacher. How could we do that? How could my abuser be my greatest teacher? For many people, that's a difficult concept to understand because they say, well, no, this person isn't my teacher. They're terrible at being a teacher. Maybe they think they're being my teacher, but they're not doing a very good job with it. That's not the way that I like to be taught or the way that I actually learn. So that doesn't fit this person. Well, okay, look at it like this. If you have to endure some sort of negative relationship with that person, if they're testing you, if they're pushing your buttons, couldn't you say that that's your greatest teacher? They're pushing your buttons and then you are overcoming that, you are handling it, you are expanding and growing because of that. It's totally possible. So I really want you to take a look at it from that perspective. How could I look at this adversary, this person that I've called or dubbed an adversary, as a great teacher for me of tolerance, of expansion, of self-love, because I've got to love myself to endure the negative comments that they might throw my way. Okay, so that's already a beautiful way to look at it. And that yet there's another one that we can add on top of it. What about love is the answer? What if you went ahead and gave someone love who is your antagonist? If you loved your antagonist, whether you outwardly show it or you just feel it inside, doesn't really matter. Giving, showing, or feeling love for anyone will help the relationship. It will change the way that you look at them. And if you give it outwardly, you might just start to change the dynamic of the relationship. But your goal is not to actually change the dynamic of the relationship. That may happen, but your goal is to love anyway, is to say, you know what, no matter what the consequences are, I'm strong enough, I'm powerful enough, I love myself enough, I care deeply about myself and the world, that actually, by showing this person love, I will not experience any consequences. And if anything, if I start to, that is, again, a way for me to learn, to grow, and to expand, even though it's difficult, it's challenging, and you don't really want to do it. But love is always the answer, always at the end of the day. Now, the original concept was separate yourself from them, right? And that would be a loving situation for yourself. I love myself so much, I'm not going to continue to put myself in harm's way with this person. And this is a fantastic approach. This might be the best approach for the situation. But if you've decided that you can't do that, or you've decided that you don't want to do that, then this other approach is probably your best angle to understand that they're trying their best and that actually love is always the answer. And no matter what the consequences are, you can still love them and you can still love yourself. Because maybe the thing that's irritating you about them is something simple. Maybe for them, it's not even that big of a deal, but for you, it's a huge deal. So if you show love, then you might actually step through that difficulty for yourself. Okay. So hopefully this is helpful for you. There are so many different ways to tackle this problem, and so many spiritual ways, and so many correct ways. And maybe there's a wrong way or two, because I wouldn't want you to set yourself up to really be hurt in any way. But at the same time, everything that happens to us and everything that happens everywhere in the universe is all happening exactly as it's supposed to. So we can't really criticize that no matter what happens, because there's always growth involved. If you end up working with this person and they really hurt you, there might be a very long period of time where you have to recover from that. But if you take that high vibrational spiritual approach, having self-love, having excitement for what you can learn, then what you're going to find is that you are actually going to learn amazing things as a result. And you can look back on that and say, actually, I'm grateful for that all that happened because of where it brought me. I would love it if you let me know which approach you like to take. Who do you have to work with in this way? How are you handling it? What kind of questions might you have? I'd love to answer them for you in the comments below. My co-host for Remembering Our Oneness, which is a podcast you can also find on my YouTube channel, likes to say this: we know that we're enlightened when we can move home and live with our parents, because our parents generally push all of our buttons. And if we can move home and stand with them and not allow those things that used to push your buttons to still bother you, if you can rise above that, then you've proven to yourself how incredibly enlightened you are. So I seek out situations like that so that I can continue to grow and expand. If someone intimidates me, I want to be around them more. If someone makes my life miserable, I want to understand what it is that I need to learn so that my life isn't miserable anymore, because it's not their fault. It's my fault for interpreting it in that way. All right, well, thanks so much for watching this video and all the other videos. I make one every week, and I'd love it if you subscribed and commented and liked. Do all those fun YouTube things to help the reach. I really do appreciate it. That's the way that you can help me help the world. Thanks again. I love you unconditionally, and I'll see you in the next video.